Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Coaches on a Mission. I am your host, Dallas Travers. And today, once again, you're going to get a front row seat into some real life coaching in real time with coaches who are a lot like you, people who are working toward building sustainability in their business, making sense of their offers and their pricing and who their clients are and how they're going to scale, all of those things. We're going to work through those opportunities together. So every episode, I coach a volunteer on an opportunity or a challenge that they're facing in their business. And you're going to hear all of it, the questions, how we approach our answers from a variety of angles. You're going to have some accountability here. You're really going to feel like a fly on the wall. So my guest today is Hanna E2. Hanna helps writers with mental health differences establish a regular writing practice so that they can finish their memoirs without losing the heart of their story. Now, really quick, a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. I want to tell you about something I'm so excited about. I can't think of a better thing to do this summer, and I want you to join me. It is called The Best Coach Ever, because I know you want to do right by your clients and you want to truly become the best coach ever. So you're invited to join me for a 4-week deep dive, really designed to help you do two things. Number one, understand why today in 2026, we have to expand our skills beyond what we learned in our certification program, which is really all about asking deep questions. We need to learn when and how to advise our clients. We also need to understand and truly master what I think are the two most impactful coaching skills that every one of us needs to bring into our practice if we want to truly serve our clients. So that's what we're going to tackle together inside of The Best Coach Ever. This is really an invitation for you to step into what I believe is a whole new era of coaching, and I can't wait for you to join me. The best part is it's live. We're going to be doing lots of role plays. You're going to get coaching. You're going to learn all of my secrets, but it's also only $88 for the 4-week experience. So I really hope you'll take advantage of this opportunity and join me. You can do that at dallastravers.com/bestcoach. All right. So with that, let's dig in today. Hanna, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I'm excited to have our conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so how can I be most helpful to you today?
So, I think my biggest struggle right now is finding clients and keeping clients consistently. I have a pretty small email list, and a lot of them aren't ideal clients. And I've had a couple client inquiries, a couple potential client inquiries in the last few weeks, but I can go for several months without hearing very much. And I know that there are neurodivergent writers out there. I know there's plenty of people that need my help, and I'm just not necessarily reaching them. I do a ton of social media, I do a weekly newsletter. Those are my biggest promo that I do right now for
Okay.
the business.
Okay. I have a couple of follow-up questions. So what I'm hearing you say is the biggest opportunity you want to seize in your business is client attraction. The goal is a full roster, heck, even a wait list, right? We could live our best wait list life.
Yeah.
So I also heard you say that your email list is small. How big is your list?
I think it's at this point 38.
Okay, 38. And not all of those people are necessarily your target audience.
Right.
Okay, great. And then you also said that you do a ton of social media. Paint the picture for us. What does that actually look like?
Like posting 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm. On what platform?
Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
I do it in batches. I do like at the beginning of the month, I just turn it all out. I have like themes, so like I don't have to think about it. I have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all have a theme, and
Mm-hmm.
I turn them out like that. And that's made it easier for me. And it has, from what I've seen with my website, like with my analytics on my website, I do still get a lot of hits from social media, especially Facebook,
Okay.
which is disappointing because I'd love to get rid of Facebook,
I
but
know. I wasn't going to say it, but I really felt like, oh, that's too bad.
yes. Yeah, yeah. I keep thinking that would be great to not have to promote on Facebook anymore. And why? But I have gotten paying clients through Facebook before, so
So here we
There's
are, posting to Facebook. Yes. Okay. So it sounds like, and then you're emailing your list of 38 subscribers on a weekly basis?
Yes.
All right. So you've got some marketing habits in place, and we're not really seeing those habits yet convert into paying clients or even email subscribers.
Yes.
Okay. So if you felt like, what for you feels like the most obvious problem to solve when it comes to client attraction? Because there's a whole bunch of things here. Like, we need to build your list. Maybe it's your messaging. Maybe it's your sales process. Like, there could be so many avenues we take. Is there one that you feel drawn to or suspicious about that might be our best solution here?
I'm very suspicious of my sales process.
Mhm.
I think my messaging could always use tweaking, but I have done a lot of tweaking to it.
Yeah.
And I think my website could always use more tweaking, and I could certainly come up with a lead magnet that is better suited to my ideal client. My lead magnets are not mental health focused, which is a
Mm,
big problem.
okay.
That is another problem.
Okay.
But I also think that I could use some improvement on my sales calls. I
Okay.
think that I don't always stick the landing with those, and that's something that I've been working on.
Okay. Welcome to the club. Right? I teach sales, and there are days where I'm like, why am I saying this right now? Like, why is this happening? This is not how it's supposed to go. So let's talk about your sales process, because your sales process actually begins long before the sales call itself. So when you're sending your content out, your social content and your emails, how often in those posts or emails are you selling?
Not as frequently as I should be.
Yeah.
I used to do it in almost every email, almost every post, and now
Yep.
it's a couple posts a week and maybe once a month in terms of the newsletter. It's not
Yeah.
every week anymore.
Okay.
It used to be very frequent.
Okay. And was that a conscious change that you made, like a strategic change that you made, or did you sort of end up floating away from
More the
selling all the time?
floating away
Sure.
in terms of getting
Sure.
burned out with content and just writing what felt right and creating like what felt right, and yeah, it just sort of floated
Yeah.
off.
Yep.
I try
So,
to always have
mhm.
something that I'm promoting with
Uh-huh.
my content, but it definitely has gotten more into this nurture cycle than a selling cycle.
Yeah. You've probably heard me talk about this in the Hive, but it has not come up on the podcast yet with the relaunch. So I'm just going to take a moment. I'm going to climb up on my soapbox here and preach about nurture content and selling. So, you and I, we care about our clients' success. Some people might call us values driven. We really care about doing good work and helping people get results. Sometimes, because of that character strength, it becomes a character flaw when what we're supposed to be doing is selling, right? And
Right.
without even meaning to, suddenly we're just like nurturing the hell out of people, unconsciously assuming that if we nurture them well enough, they're just going to come and knock on our door. And the online marketing space, I think, has all bought into that as a response to all the bro marketing we were seeing. We still see, but I see it less and less, right? We've gone
Yeah.
so anti-bro marketing that now we're forgetting to sell. But if we actually care about our memoir writers finishing their books, if I care about the coaches I serve hitting consistent 10K months, I have to insist on selling to you, because my nurture content isn't going to cut it. This
No.
podcast is not doing the trick. Your Facebook posts, they might give people a quick serotonin rush, but they're not actually helping people finish their memoir.
Right.
So the pledge I made to myself last fall was to sell in every email. I'm pretty much taking a hiatus from social, but I'm sending out 2 emails a week. In every one of those emails, I'm selling, because that's how I'm really going to help people. And sometimes the sale is a very soft mention about the Hive opening enrollment in 60 days, get on the wait list early, right? Sometimes it's a series of 7 sales emails over the course of 7 days, but never will I send an email out that doesn't explicitly tell people what to do next and how to really get help from me, because that really is the most client-centered position. So, what would it take for you to like lean into or totally adopt that philosophy?
I think I think I have to be more I think I had to have more ownership of what I'm selling,
Oh,
if that makes sense.
yeah, say more.
So, I've rebuilt my coaching packages a couple times, and I've done the one that I get the most traction from is the accountability package, where writers, they just submit like 30 pages a month or 30 pages every other week. They do like a deadline kind of structure. And then I give developmental edits, comments, structural feedback. And I offer packages like in terms of proposal feedback, query letters, things like that. And for what I'm realizing is that this is just kind of like a cookie cutter way of structuring my coaching packages. It's like I'm not structuring them in any way that's clear that they're for people with mental health differences. I haven't made them my own. I guess
Yes.
my fear. And so I feel like I got kind of go through a promotion every once in a while. I promote it in my emails while the promotion is going on, and then it just kind of falls off and then
Mhm.
disappears into the ether for forever.
Mhm. Yes, got it. Okay. So, what I heard you say was if you felt more ownership over the structure of your offer, it would feel more aligned or organic or easy to sell consistently because you're really standing in what it is you're selling.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to offer a clarification. I wonder how this is going to land for you. You are not selling a package with 30 pages, developmental edits, feedback. That's the process. You're not selling that. What you're selling is finishing the memoir. You're selling the outcome. How it's delivered doesn't matter it definitely doesn't matter to your email readers. Those are like nitty-gritty details you get into after a client has hired you. So, yes, I agree, and we can spend some time on it now if you want. Customizing the packages so they really sing the song of the writer with mental health differences, right? So they feel like yours. But just remember, it's not the process you're selling, it's the outcome.
That makes so much more sense though. So, yeah, I'm not always so as you said with your weekly emails, like you're not always promoting a particular offer. You're not always promoting something that you're just saying enrollment is open for the hive or something like that. So this is just if you're ready to finish your memoir, here click this link to get in touch with me. It's not that complicated,
Yeah, it's
is what
not
you're
like a
saying.
sales page where I have to tell you all the nuts and bolts of how we're going to work together.
Right.
Instead, it's if this message landed, you probably belong in the hive. It's where I help coaches reach consistent 10K months in the simplest way possible. The waitlist is now open. Go here. So for you, it could be if this story rings true for you, I'm really good at helping memoir writers with mental health differences finally finish their book. Go here to schedule a call. For our podcast listeners on the video, it'll make sense when you're watching, but for everyone listening, they're like, where'd she go? Where's Hannah? But it's because you're really taking it in.
Oh,
That's
I was afraid that
fabulous,
was I was gonna
right?
do that.
So if you think about it, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Okay, so I used to shop at Target. That has ceased to happen. But back in our Target shopping days,
Mhm.
you're standing in line and there's like Reese's peanut butter cups for sale and an Us Weekly magazine and maybe some hand sanitizer or film for my camera or batteries. There's all these last minute mentions, right? Like, hey, would you also like this? Oh, hey, seems like you're having a nice time at Target. Why don't you buy this as well? It's almost like administrative. It's a housekeeping conversation rather than this big sales push. And that's how I want you to think about it with your air quotes here, nurture content. You're not nurturing them if you're not giving them an easy next step to take. You don't have to fill in all the details of the entire journey. It's just the very next step to take.
Okay.
So, could I give you a challenge? This episode's going to drop mid-July, but we are recording it on June 9th. Would you be open for the next 30 days? You've got 5 days of social content going out. You've got an email a week going out. Could you sell in every piece of content for the next month and just see what happens, see how it feels, see what it produces for you?
I could do that.
Great. I want to say one other thing because I caught it earlier when you talked about drifting into putting out content that felt really aligned and natural for you. And what I
Okay.
don't want is to take you out of that because that's probably a big part of why you've been able to be so consistent. So if you're going to step up to this challenge, there will likely be a day where the thing you're writing about, it just feels weird to suddenly be like, oh, and by the way, sign up for coaching. Like it's a total pattern interrupt. Let
Yeah.
it be. That's actually a really smart sales strategy. So here's what I mean. I think of it as a commercial break. So it could be in the email or in your Facebook post, right? You start with some sort of hook about the faulty thinking around what it means to be a consistent writer when you have mental health differences, right? Most people with mental health differences think there's something wrong with them when they can't show up to write every day, but that's not how our brains work. Commercial break. Before I dig into why, I want to remind you that I help memoir writers with mental health differences finish their book. If you want to know more about that, go here. Now, back to my stance about the consistency myth. So you literally like insert an interruption into the body of your content.
Okay.
So now it doesn't have to feel natural and it doesn't have to flow perfectly. It just needs to be there.
That makes sense the way you've presented it, because sometimes I feel like I'm throwing it in at the end and it feels uncomfy,
Yes.
especially for folks in the mental health community. I'm always trying to be as authentic as I can. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
want them to think that, I don't know what I don't want them to think. I'm afraid of coming off as like I'm always looking for something from them, and that's not really what I'm doing.
No,
Like
it's not.
I'm offering something.
Yes. And you're really like, you are there to help them. And I don't care how good your Facebook post is, it's not helping in the
No.
way that working with you to finally finish their book is helping.
Right.
So whether it's that commercial break towards the top, you could even do a PS at the very end. And again, just narrate, PS, I promised myself I was always going to let you know how to take work further with me. And I couldn't find a way to smash it into that article. So here it is at the end. Like, go here to sign up for coaching. That's transparent, right? That's real. And I think you'll find that simply by increasing that CTA to all the time, you're going to develop a different kind of relationship with the people who follow you on social and with the people who are on your email list. They will be there to not only learn from you, but to invest in learning from you rather than being there to absorb your free content. Okay, is there anything else around this piece of your sales process before we move on to the next step?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I think
so just to narrate for our listeners, your sales process does not start with your sales call. It starts with your nurture content. Nurture content is not helpful if it does not include a call to action to invest in taking the work further. Okay, so now you've got your routine of sending out nurture content. You mentioned your sales calls tend to fall flat.
yeah.
Should we jump over there and see if
Yeah,
there's
yes,
okay.
please.
Can you paint the picture for us? Give us an example of what you mean when you say the calls fall flat.
So, well, we've talked about a little bit about this in the Hive. I recently adjusted my intake process to include an intake form, which I didn't do before because I wanted to get people on calls. I didn't want them to feel like they had to do homework before getting onto calls. But what was happening is that people weren't aware of my fees. So before I started the new intake process, people would get onto the calls and it was a 50-50 chance if they knew how much I charged.
Right.
And so we get to the end of the call. I would talk about what I would prescribe what I thought the solution would be and then tell them how much it cost. And they would say, "Well, I got to think about it maybe." And then I would usually get an email maybe a week later saying, "I didn't realize this was going to be so expensive."
Mhm.
And so I adjusted that, and I'm finding either people don't do the form. I guess I should talk more about the call itself. I think I get a lot of social anxiety when it comes to these things, and I really dread sales calls.
Mhm.
So, like, most of the time it feels really natural, and I've had calls with people that I know, and those tend to be better, but I don't like feeling pushy.
Yeah.
I don't and, like, the last call I had was a perfect example of someone not feeling sure and really needing to be given the certainty that she was looking for, and I was trying to push her in the right direction without making it seem like I just wanted her money, which is, like, not the truth. It was a lot of, "I don't know if I should write this book. I don't know if this book is worth writing. I don't know if it's any good. I've never written anything before." A lot of those kind of self-doubt comments, and a lot of the training that I've gotten in the past is to validate and then try to recenter the conversation.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that call went fairly well. I think I talked to after it, they haven't spoken to me since then, so
So it didn't go that great. Okay.
Well, right, the
Yes.
call
Got it.
itself was fine, result was not great.
Yeah. Okay. So I may have a clarifying question here. Let's see. I'm just going to track and make sure I'm understanding. So you gave this one call as an example.
Yeah,
And what you found during the call was this writer, their biggest objection. I hate that term. I usually just call it a concern. So, their biggest concern about investing in book coaching was they didn't even know if their book was good or if they were capable of writing a good book. Is that accurate?
yeah.
Great. So the training you've had in the past about validating and then recentering the conversation, whether you did it or not, like paint the picture for us. What would that look like to validate and recenter the conversation?
I would say something along the lines of, like, I think every writer struggles with that, and the work we would do together would be exploring the market and seeing how your book would fit in the marketplace, but we're only going to know if it's worth writing if you do write it,
Hmm.
which I mean is true,
Yeah. Hmm.
and that's just what I help with.
Yes.
And then I gave more context as the things that I can do. I can help with structure, or if you just want somebody to send pages to hold your feet to the fire, I can do
Hmm.
that as well. I gave a lot more context because we also do I think that this person needed to start from square one and
Right.
needed to do a lot of deep thinking about why they were writing the book and who their audience was. And so we did a lot of that conversation, but I was trying to I end up doing a lot of coaching on the sales calls too, which I'm
Yes.
trying not to do.
No, no. Keep doing that. Okay.
I should be coaching.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So this is, I think, what's unique about my approach to sales calls. I work exclusively with coaches, right? What are we good at? Coaching, right? What do we need to learn? Selling. So, what if we could use our coaching skills to sell? I just don't believe, especially something, an intimate, long relationship like that of a book coach and a writer. I need to know what book coaching even feels like before I'm going to say yes to it.
Right.
Like buying the jeans in the store, it's always going to be a better outcome than ordering them and hoping that they fit. So keep coaching. If I could offer some feedback, I wasn't there on the call, so I don't have the full picture, but I'd love to just offer a different take here.
Please.
Okay. You were so plugged into this client and you saw a couple of things. Number one, it's possible that this person's book is not the book, and I can help them realize that in a safe container where they don't feel like a failure. They'll have the tools and the structure to actually find the book they're meant to be writing. It can be a rewarding experience. You caught on to that. You also saw really clearly that for them, the concern to address was this self-belief. Now, I'm going to say this to you, but also to all of the listeners. The only obstacle, objection, concern, however you want to label it, that we have to help our clients address in sales calls is self-belief. There are people who can't afford it, and that's not even like an obstacle to overcome. Like if they can't afford it, they can't afford it. That's not real, right? Like the money objection is not real. That's just the self-belief objection wearing a money objection outfit. So by avoiding coaching and instead telling people, well, here's what it will be like, trust me, you're taking them out of these feelings that they are experiencing right now, which can feel dismissive, which is probably where you're starting to feel that like, God, I just feel kind of slimy here.
Yes.
Because I'm being dismissive by not coaching them.
Correct.
Okay. Phase 3 of all of my sales calls is coaching. So what it looks like at a high level, and you are a part of the Hive, you can go into the sales call training. I'm going to encourage you to do that. But we start by setting the agenda, right? So thanks for being here. Here's exactly what we're going to talk about today, right? I'm going to take you through my process. I'm going to find out more about your book. We will have some time to coach around whatever obstacle you feel like you're bumping up against right now. And we're going to reserve some time at the end to talk about working together if we both feel like that would be helpful to you. Great. There's the agenda, right? Now you're accountable to selling at the end because you already told them you're going to. And then you just move into finding out, like getting enough backstory about who they are and about their book and where they're stuck to figure out whether or not it's a fit, right? If it feels like a fit, you move into coaching. And then sometimes you move into coaching, you present the offer, you go back to coaching. You go back to the offer. It's a dance. So in this circumstance, when the person is really enveloped in legitimate self-doubt, we need to honor that rather than redirect it. So imagine for a moment that it wasn't a sales call and instead it was a coaching session. If you had a client come, the same person, right, who was really asking these questions about, is this book any good and am I capable? How would you coach them in that moment?
I mean, I did a little bit of this that I asked them why they decided to write the book, but we would have done more follow-up. I would have asked deeper questions
Yes.
into that. I would have been like, so, and why? And also, and this, and who do you see as your reader? And we would have gone more into that. So we did a little bit of talking about her reader and it was too broad. And I would have actually given clearer feedback on that.
Yeah.
Because I was more just listening to what her ideas were at the time and less so offering feedback.
Yes.
But yeah, so the coaching would have looked like with the self-doubt, we would have dug into the why of her book. And I guess we probably would have spent more time talking about writing because this particular writer had not really written much ever in terms other than term papers. This person was like, I've only written essays and papers and things, and I've never been interested in creative writing before, which was very interesting to me because I've never had an inquiry like that.
Right.
So,
yeah, usually it's writers who have been wrestling with a book forever.
Right.
Or several books, right?
Yeah, that it's just sitting there like 30,000 words, like collecting dust.
Yeah.
So I think I would have dug more into their why and had a bigger conversation about that.
Great. Oh my God. Next time, give yourself permission to do that.
Okay. I love that.
There's a secret to this because, and for our listeners, anyone thinking like, okay, now it's going to turn into a 90-minute free coaching session. I'm not down with that.
No.
We hold the container and we narrate what's happening. So I'll just kind of role play it for you a little bit here. It might look like this. I'm really hearing how important it is for you to know whether or not your idea is even a viable one. So here's what I propose. We've got probably about like 10 or 15 minutes right now where we could do some coaching around this. So let's imagine we've already begun our work together and you're actually a coaching client. I'd like to dig into this a little bit. That way you'll get some traction, but you'll also really get to experience what it's like to work together, which I think will help you understand and make a better decision for yourself. So how would you feel about us taking, I'm looking at the clock, like 10 or 15 minutes to just do a little bit of coaching around this. We're not going to solve all of your problems, but we can get moving in a direction. And then we'll come back to our conversation about how, if at all, we can work together as coach and client. Would that be okay with you? They'll say yes, right? And if they say no, great. They've told you no and the call's done, right? But you've also put some guardrails around it. This is not
Right.
just going to be a open Q&A. It's like, we've got this amount of time. I'm not making any big promises, but let's get you some traction and then we'll come back and talk about continuing the work. Fast forwarding to the day where this feels very integrated into your sales process, what kind of difference might this approach make on your conversion rate?
I think it would increase my conversion rate for sure. I think I would come off more confident in my calls and people would actually get to see like what it's like to work with me.
Yeah.
But the conventional wisdom usually is don't work for free on a sales call, but like, I don't know if it's conventional wisdom, but I feel like that's all the advice that I've ever gotten is to don't do any free coaching. But that's always my instinct is to try to give them an understanding of who I am and what it's like to work with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Isn't it interesting that the conventional wisdom, this is bringing both sides of our conversation together, is give out a bunch of free content and never sell, nurture, nurture, nurture. But when it's time to sell, don't give them the experience of what they're actually buying.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the secret ingredient to all of this is to just narrate what's happening. So when I role played it, I just
Yes.
narrated. Like, I'm getting this. So here's what we're going to do. We've got this amount of time. We're going to do some coaching. Here's why I want you to get traction, but I also want you to understand what it's like to coach with me. Then let's come back and address any other questions you have about what it's like to work together, because I really believe that I can help you get clear on this book and make some real progress on this book. It's what I'm really good at.
I love this.
So then we narrate again. Okay, we could keep going, and I want to. So our very first session together, let's pick up exactly where we're leaving off here, but I want to respect your time. So let's shift gears out of coaching and back to talking about working together. Would you like to become a client? And then we zip our lips and let them really contemplate that and ask their follow-up questions.
Yeah. This makes so much sense to me.
Well, it's aligned with your intuition. Like,
Yes.
you've known all along.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you mentioned earlier that selling in this way will help you come across as more confident. Of course it will, because you are behaving in alignment with your intuition
Right.
instead of following some sort of weird sales advice.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. What else, if anything, is present for you around the sales call piece?
The sales call piece. Are you prescribing any particular offer on the sales call, do you think? Or is it more just about hiring? I'm thinking about simplifying my offers, which is a different conversation, to more just the one-on-one coaching, the group coaching kind of thing.
Yeah.
But right now my offers are pretty specific to where the person is in the process. Like, are you presenting that? Are you prescribing? Or are you kind of letting them come to their own conclusion on that?
They don't even know what your offers are. How are they going to
Right.
come to a conclusion?
Right.
Right? So, you're going to love Client Surge so much. Actually, you're going to hate parts of it because it's
Yes.
kind of intense.
I am terrified. I'm excited, but I am terrified.
But I'll tell you, part of why Client Surge is intense is it drops you into what can feel like a boot camp. You're going to be having so many sales calls that all of these kinks we're talking about here will get ironed out because you're just going to be like getting your reps in, right?
Yeah.
That's what I love about Client Surge. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Client Surge model, and then I have a different suggestion for you. So the Client Surge model, what I recommend is offering a chocolate and a vanilla flavor, two flavors, chocolate or vanilla. The outcome is the same. It does not work to take someone through a whole sales conversation. They're having this immersive coaching experience, and then suddenly it's like, would you like apples or oranges? Or would you like breakfast or dinner? Right? We have to sell the outcome they came here to get.
Right.
So the delivery of that outcome is the thing that is different. So for you, it would be group or privates. But the outcome is one thing, finishing the memoir or developmental editing, whatever it is they came for. So that's the client search format. And the reason we do that is it takes people out of, should I do this or should I not do it? And into the mindset of, which way would I like to do this?
Right.
Okay. Now, for you, what I heard you say was you're presenting an offer based on where people are at in their journey. And
Yes.
that to me makes more sense. Now, when you have enough leads coming in that you could have a group for developmental editing, like come back on the podcast or come to a Hive call and we'll figure out that offer.
Right.
But for now, my suggestion would be offer the thing that meets them where they're at in the process. For this one client, it would be like writing confidence, right? And consistency and developing their story. For others clients, it could be more developmental editing. And then maybe the chocolate and vanilla spin on it is, would you like to meet weekly or would you like to meet twice a month?
Okay.
Or would you like to do asynchronous coaching or would you like to meet on Zoom?
Oh, okay. I like this.
Did I answer your question? You asked, like, do you prescribe or do you leave it up to the client? And I want to make sure you feel like you got an answer to that
No,
question.
you did. You did. I think I've just been looking at it the wrong way. I think that just aligns better with not yeah, there shouldn't be like even I mean, I'm never offering something that wouldn't work for the client, but like I should just be proposing what the fit is. But giving them like the chocolate and vanilla gives them the two different ways that might work with their brain or with how they function
Yes.
as a human being.
Yes, exactly. But the outcome
Yeah.
is the same.
And like
Yes.
what my offers are, there's just like I was just saying like my offers are just like, well, you can have this outcome or this outcome or this outcome. And they only want one outcome, but they don't
Yes, right. So
yeah.
you're here to get started on your book. There are two ways that I can help you get started on your book. One is to meet every other week on Zoom. The other is to meet asynchronously. Let me tell you a little bit about how that works, right? But they're not deciding, they're not picking finish lines, right? They're deciding how
Yes.
they want to run toward the finish line.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So before I let you go, I need to bring up one other piece here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So we talked about getting support with selling. We addressed the middle of the funnel. Some might argue it's the top of the funnel. I'm going to put it in the middle, which is your nurture content, right? And our nurture content isn't doing its job if it's not also inviting people to take the next step. So we've ticked that box. Now we've also talked about the bottom of the funnel, which is once someone comes to the sales call, how do we coach in order to enroll? We have not yet talked about the top of the funnel. And with 38 email subscribers, we got to get more people in your world.
Yes.
That's to me, the most important next step for your business.
Yeah, 100%.
So, how would you feel about hosting a bundle before the end of the year?
I would love to. I think
Great.
that's my next step in the Hive after I'm on perfect match pricing right now.
Perfect. Yep. The next course is Bundleicious. I'm just going to set the stage for you a little bit. Okay. Bundleicious is just a formula. It's a process to follow in order to host a giant lead magnet swap, essentially, where inside the course, you're going to hear me recommend inviting 40 different contributors. A lot of Hive members do mini bundles, like a group of 12 or 20, like whatever, right? The fewer contributors, the smaller list growth that you'll experience. But with 38 email subscribers, even a tiny bit of list growth would make a huge difference for you.
Yes, absolutely.
So don't get spun out or turned off when you hear me recommend 40 contributors. Pick the number that makes sense for you. Okay.
Sure.
And then I'd love to invite you to come on a Hive call and just talk about the types of contributors to invite, because I don't think it's quite right to have just book coaches, right?
Yeah.
We want to have some mental health experts, probably some people who work in the realm of productivity hacks.
Yeah.
creativity, and also some book coaches.
Yeah. Maybe with social justice
Yes,
folks.
totally. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, get Stone in there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah. So, boy, imagine if coming into, I'm looking at it's June again. Like, imagine if come September or October, you hosted a bundle and took your email list from 38 to even 380
That would be
subscribers.
excellent. Like,
Okay. So that to me is I'm glad we had the sales call conversation. I'm really happy we made that adjustment to your middle of the funnel content, but let's get more people in your world. And a very efficient way to do that is through hosting a bundle. That's why it's course number 3 inside the Hive. Cool. So what, if any, accountability do you need around that? And it's okay if you don't need any.
I mean, I've been doing pretty well about getting things done. I
Great.
mean, even just like I like the check-ins when I have the checkbox buddies in
Great.
the week, and then folks reach out to me like midway through the week. So yeah, even a check-in like in October maybe
Great.
about the bundle.
Okay, so I'm going to mark my calendar that sometime before the end of October, you're hosting a bundle. And I'm
Yeah.
going to ask you about it. Great. Cool. So, top of funnel, bundle through collaboration, bringing new subscribers to your list. Middle of the funnel, you're writing meaningful content that really speaks to your unique niche around serving writers with mental health differences. You're always showing people how to take the next step. And then when they do take that next step, you get to coach on your sales calls so that you don't feel like a slime ball and people experience the value of working with you.
I love this.
Me too. I'm so glad you came on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, are there any parting thoughts or questions you want to ask before we wrap up?
I don't think so. Do you have any thoughts on lead magnets with writers with mental health differences? I'm realizing that my lead magnets are not really attractive to writers with mental health differences. They're about memoir writers or
Oh,
just to
yeah.
writers in general.
Yeah. I have 2 thoughts. Thought number 1, your bundle is your lead magnet now. Host
Okay.
2 bundles a year. You don't ever need a lead magnet.
Awesome.
Number 2, you already have an excellent lead magnet for writers with mental health differences. It's your weekly newsletter. Take
Oh,
your newsletter and start relating to it as the most valuable lead magnet out there. It's not a downloadable PDF. You're going to send information bite by bite every week to their email inbox.
rather than spending a couple hours in Canva coming up with a new.
Yeah, with something people are going to download and then not ever really open,
Correct.
right? Like get them buying in to the thing you want them engaging with every single week, which is your email newsletter.
Yes.
So there's training inside the Hive for this. It's inside of Lazy List Building.
Okay.
You can even just jump to that specific module, but what it requires is like thinking of your email, your weekly emails almost as like a Substack where it's got a title, you're taking a stance, you're really packaging it as a magazine subscription, right? That's free rather than like give me your email so I can spam you.
Right.
But then now you've got your lead magnet, bundles, and your newsletter done.
Fantastic.
We're just solving problems left and right today. I
So
love
many.
this for us.
Got the whole funnel figured out.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Hanna, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think your questions were very illuminating, and I hope all of you listeners got value as well. If I could give the listeners a homework assignment, it would be to take a seat and think about, like, what are you doing at the top of your funnel? How are you selling instead of just nurturing? And where can you use more coaching when you're selling so that it feels aligned and people understand what they're actually investing in? With that, let's sign off. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And again, thank you, Hanna, for being here.
Thank you.